Well, hello, you beautiful, sensitive people. It is me, your favorite Whimsy, and I'm here to deliver the remote views for the evening, but also to do a little bit of tarot card reading as well. So before we get started, it would be great if you could like and subscribe to this channel. It would really help a lot to get me to my goal of 100K. Hopefully, it'd be nice if I got to 100K by January, but yeah, so if you could like and subscribe, that would be great. The first thing that people wanted to know about had to do with Hurricane Milton. Hurricane Milton, as many people know, is a storm that is coming out of the Gulf of Mexico, and it looks like in the worst case scenario, it is headed straight towards western Florida. When I go into this energy, I feel that the storm is moving north. So the storm goes this way, and then I feel it's going north. So it's veering this way. And so for that reason, I'm very concerned that it's going to hit Western Florida. I also feel that Western Florida is low. It's low, it's at sea level, making it very vulnerable. So any rains that are going to be coming down are going to be coming down on the western side. But I also feel it veering north, which leads me to suspect that parts of the Midwest could be hit, but the Midwest east west of the Atlantic area could be hit, just because when I put myself in the shoes of the storm, I feel like it veers this way. It veers northwest. So it hits Florida and then it comes in. It hits Alabama, Tennessee, and then breaks apart over that area and dissipates. And then we could see a wide area getting hit above Tennessee. So I go this way and then I break apart when I hit land, creating a mass area right smack dab in the eastern, midwestern United States. I think Pennsylvania will also get hit, Kentucky, etc. So for that reason, the other thing is I think the ground is saturated, and I see floods and rivers being affected. And I also see people getting into their boats and their canoes and escaping in certain parts of. I see the Ohio River being vulnerable. Parts of Ohio, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, that whole area. Um, I have to look at a map, the US map, because I'm not that great at it. Um, and let me just see this here so that I understand what I'm looking at. Yeah, so I veer west, and so that would be hitting Alabama, parts of Mississippi, Georgia, goes up and begins to break apart over Tennessee, South Carolina, Kentucky, and it could go as high as Pennsylvania and Ohio. But I feel like because it's veering west, we could see the tip of Kansas, Missouri area and Arkansas also being hit, because it just becomes very wide as it breaks apart. But there's a part of it that goes up into this way and could hit parts of Ohio and Pennsylvania. So that's what it looks like. And I actually see people in canoes, in boats, escaping to certain areas. So this will become more and more the norm. I'm also getting a hit that there's another major storm coming, a couple other major storms happening right after this. So it's going to be a very wet fall and winter, just to let people know. A very wet fall and winter. The other thing I wanted to do is talk a little bit about things heating up in the Middle East. I believe it was December 19th, I sent a message to the IDF about pure math. One of the things we do as remote viewers is a meditation where we try to look at things as objectively as possible, to stand back without any emotion. We try not to get wrapped up in the trees, and we just try to see the situation, the global situation, as objectively as possible. And I have no doubt that the world thinks I'm a quack, but even quacks get right sometimes. So I did go ahead and send everything to the people that mattered. I also sent it to the State Department and to Joe Biden. And how it looked to me was the least amount of deaths would be to try and get to ceasefire as quickly as possible between Israel and Hamas, to exchange hostages, and then to lure Hamas to a host country after they've gotten the hostages out, and then to do a rebuild. And we talked about the rebuild being Oasis 1, which was a proposal that I had written and also sent the IDF and the Knesset, which was based on reform and modernizing Gaza as a way of integrating the Gazan population with the Israeli population. And then a couple months later, we heard Joe Biden talk about the first 3 phases. So the phases were probably discussed at the IDF, and then they were able to take those recommendations, pass it with the IDF War Cabinet, and Biden was able to give his 3 phases. So I feel that I was able to contribute to that. But there were actually 5 phases, not 3. I gave them 5 phases, not 3. The 4th phase that I gave was that Russia would have to collapse, that the only way to prevent mass catastrophe, World War III, was to dismantle Russian leadership, that Russian leadership had to be dismantled, that Putin had to be dismantled, either tried in The Hague or put under house arrest by his own people. That's phase 4, because we will have no rest in the United States as long as Putin is in power, bribing people in positions of power, manipulating compromised individuals, using the internet, social media in order to control and manipulate the crazy and the chaos. It feels like we are at war. It feels like confusing times because we are at war and we are being attacked. And we're being attacked through social media, and we're being attacked through people in positions of power that, for whatever reason, have been compromised by Russia. So the 4th phase was the dismantling of Russian leadership, which I believe is happening right now. We're seeing civil war basically breaking out in Russia as more and more of Russian leadership is calling for Putin to resign. And we see Ukraine pushing deeper and deeper into Russian territory. And we could see tremendous hostility happening between Israel and Russia. October 7th, which is tomorrow, which is the anniversary of the massacre that took place in Israel, also is the birthday of Vladimir Putin. And so many people suspected that he had been meeting with Hamas, organizing it, paying for it, and it was basically a birthday present to the Tsar to have a pogrom against the Jewish people. Phase 5 was, after dismantling or disrupting Russia and taking out Russian leadership, the 5th phase was to dismantle and take out Iranian leadership, that the least amount of deaths, if we hope to avoid nuclear war, if we hope to avoid a catastrophe, an all-out catastrophe, Iranian leadership can no longer exist. They have to be dismantled. We can no longer have a Khamenei in power. We can no longer have religious extremists that are attempting to wipe out the state of Israel. Now, it's been detected some activity, some earthquake-like activity in Iran that leads many people to suspect that Iran is experimenting with nuclear weapons and that they plan on firing nuclear warheads on Israel. And so it goes back to this idea that there is no solution other than we must completely dismantle this extremist leadership in Iran. We can't just kick them around a little bit. We can't just kick Putin around a little bit. We can't negotiate with people that are trying to wipe us off the face of the map. The other thing that I had said was that Trump is the worst thing that could have happened to the state of Israel. On the one hand, it looked like he supported Israel by giving Israelis things that did nothing to secure them, like moving an embassy from Tel Aviv to East Jerusalem. It did nothing to secure and to guarantee the safety of Israel in the future. It simply was moving an embassy from one place to another, which actually created more animosity, but it didn't necessarily put Israel in a safer position. The Abraham Accords was good because we were opening up trade in the Middle East between countries like United Arab Emirates and possibly Saudi Arabia. Egypt is on the fence because they were allowing smuggling to take place in tunnels as Hamas, Iranian-backed terrorists, were moving into Gaza. But again, it goes back to this idea that we have no choice. If we wish to reduce the number of deaths in the future, the least amount of deaths calculated, we have no choice but to dismantle Russian leadership, and we must completely dismantle Iranian leadership. Anything less than that will inevitably lead to World War III. And the longer we wait, the closer we get to World War III. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the impasse prayer, and then we're going to go ahead and do some blitzes. Okay. Please say the prayer with me if you know it. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen. All right, the first thing I'm going to look at, because people were concerned, is they wanted to know how serious Milton will be, the hurricane that is currently headed towards the United States and Florida. It feels to me, like I said, that it will veer northwest. Let's take a look. Thanks for joining me. All right, let's take a look. The situation right now, we have the Masters at work, 8 of Pentacles. This is a good card and it's a good omen. It means that we have people, professionals. Biden was very good about hiring people for positions like FEMA that knew what they were doing. So we have masters at work, and 10 of Pentacles would be a preservation of our legacy. So as Americans, we love our country, we love Florida. It's a natural wonders and the beauty of Florida, and we want to do everything in our power to preserve our legacy. And we've got to get the carbon down. We've got to reduce the acid in the ocean. We've got to begin actively collecting carbon. But we can see here that there is this active work of masters attempting to secure the legacy. This is the legacy and this is the masters, both of which is auspicious. The situation right now, Four of Swords, it's like the before the very peaceful right now. You have a Four of Swords in the sense that we don't see the activity yet. People may have been foolish, they may have done nothing, people may have chosen to pretend that it wasn't going to happen to them, and so consequently they didn't prepare. There was an inactivity and a foolishness that happened. What is above? People in boats attempting to get to smoother waters. So in the next couple of days we could see mass evacuations from the area. People headed northeast. And what we're sitting in is this dream, this kind of dreaminess. That's very dangerous if people are not addressing the problem, what they're coming out of, Hanged Man, and headed towards Ten of Swords. So unfortunately, the bad news is that we could be seeing major devastation. The good news is that this creates a great argument for anybody who was on the fence about global warming. They're now open to suggestions. How do we fix this? How do we make it better? How do we get the CO2 levels down? This aggressive push, we can no longer be in denial. And it could help us see more democratic leadership if the people, the governor, what is his name, DeSantis, if he is in denial, if his leadership is pretending that this isn't real, they're about to get a wake-up call. Unfortunately, sixth house is in the next couple of days because it's the near future. We see Ten of Swords. So unfortunately, a lot of people losing their property, devastation, making it very difficult for people to rebuild and even sell their homes. There's a lot of fighting also. People need to stick together. Arguing about things that are not going to help them right now. People need to get organized, get the sandbags up. I really feel that Northwest Florida is going to be hit hard, and possibly Alabama as well, because of the shift I feel in this hurricane. So there's a lot of fighting, and we also have, on the flip side of that, a lot of people working together in order to fix the situation. The hope and fear lovers that we will not come together. We have to rise above our political views, rise above the tension, and come together. Two of Pentacles in the next couple of weeks. We see people again leaving the waters. Eight of Cups, going off to seek the ninth cup. We could be seeing people packing it in, and people survive. New areas could be turned into boathouses, and but there's a judgment coming in the next couple of weeks about whether or not these areas can even be rehabilitated because they are underwater, unfortunately. I do feel that we could be seeing major ecological changes in this area. The good news is that if you look on the western side begins to dry up west, and that the if you look at West Florida and then you go west of Florida, it's drying going from west to east. That's how it feels, all draining into that area, which is northwest Florida. So I just feel a lot of pressure in northwest Florida. Unfortunately, that could mean that people in that area are going to have to move out of the area until we can do more to ecologically preserve it. The next question people had to do with Donald Trump and whether or not he was going to step away or continue to fight to win the election. He is getting paid to run. Elon Musk was with him, acting very silly. They both looked like they were stoned on something. I'm sorry, but they looked like they were both on drugs. And they probably both are on drugs, which brings up this conversation about who is voting for Trump. It's often people on prescription drugs. There's a correlation between the people that are voting for him and oxycodone, ketamine, and other drugs. Many of the people voting for him have a drug problem, including Donald Trump and Elon Musk. As I had said previously, I felt that Donald Trump, I wrote about it a couple of years ago, had a drug popping problem. And that's just based on my training as a physician. I worked pharmacy for 7 years as an integration doctor. And it looked like he was simultaneously taking uppers and downers, which is a common phenomenon we'll see with nightclub owners. They'll take uppers so they can stay awake till 3 in the morning, counting money, etc. Then they have trouble falling asleep, so they'll take downers, and they might sleep till about 11 a.m., noon. So if Trump has to speak early in the morning, he may be groggy, he may be slurring his words if he is still on benzodiazepines. Benzodiazepines can give an effect similar to being drunk, and that may be why he's slurring his words. If he has a lot of anxiety, if he has an increase in anxiety because of what's happening legally, what's happening to him in terms of the assassination attempt, etc., the pressure gets on him, and so he may be increasing his use of pharmaceuticals that are muscle relaxants or anti-anxiety medications. Benzodiazepines are a type of muscle relaxant, and again, that would explain why he is having symptoms like dry mouth and slurring of his words. All right, so we'll take a look at Donald Trump's health and whether or not he's going to drop out. I felt like in a way he had dropped out. People are walking out of he's showing up late, his behavior is disorganized, he's rambling, people are walking out, and it's as if he's going through the motions because he has to. Unfortunately, a lot of money is being divested from the Senate campaign to help Trump. But let's just take a look at how Trump is doing. We'll also take a look and see the people around him are doing. The people that are controlling him. It's a war. It's a war. You have China at war with the United States, engaging in their own opium war by producing the precursors to fentanyl that are getting smuggled and to the cartel in Mexico. We've talked about that in the past, and it's bombarding our country and focusing on young people, the age bracket that would be in the war. It's like the prophecies that people have had that our country is going to be overrun by zombies. It could be that what people are seeing is they're having visions of the zombie-like effect of fentanyl. And it's now making its way into the U.S. military, so we're seeing young people in the U.S. military that are succumbing to drugs. All of this weakens us as a country. All right. Smooth waters lay ahead, and there's a King of Wands, which is not Donald Trump. The King of Wands is somebody else. But we see something is happening where smooth waters lay ahead. People will leave the rocky place, and this man comes in who's the King of Wands, and the King of Wands is a war king. He's the Mars king. He's aggressive, and it's something about a man coming in who's aggressive, who will get people to safety. It's interesting. I wonder who he is. Trump is the King of Swords. Here is Kamala's card. She is the woman who takes over. She takes charge. It's my way or the highway. It's a territory card. And so we have this war happening, and we have this indication that Kamala is in the war and she is winning the war, or she has taken control of the territory and she is being assisted by somebody else. It could be FEMA, it could be the U.S. It's a warrior. She has a warrior with her, but this is Kamala's card. The crossing card at this time is the Fool takes a leap of faith. So there's this momentum with Kamala. She is She takes the leap of faith. She is strong. She is determined. This is also the card I use for Ukraine as well. And it could be that what we're seeing is a victory of the Ukrainian and Western side, because Ukraine, that strong pride that I always see with Ukraine, and I also see the sunflower as a symbol of Ukraine, and the fool takes the leap of faith. I often think of this as Zelensky. Zelensky is the king of wands and taking people to smoother waters. He will not give up. He is a samurai. He will not surrender. And what is above is victory. Victory card stands above Kamala. I don't even see Donald Trump in these cards. And what sits below, the Queen of Swords. The past is behind us. She doesn't want to sit around and talk about the past. She wants to move forward. She wants to go forward. The world. She inherits the world and headed into the High Priestess, which would indicate the presidency for her. I believe that Kamala Harris will be the next president. She will be the 47th president of the United States based on these cards and based on the fact that she's entering into a place of victory and she's entering into the place of the High Priestess. She inherits the world. She has victory. I like the fact that she's sitting in the Queen of Swords because that is a stoic. That is someone who doesn't want to dwell on the past. They want to go forward into the future. She is doing what she said she was going to do, a team of rivals. She really is trying to work with Republicans. Her opposition, Trump, I would assume, is the 8th house. Hanged Man, again, falls with the opposition, which would be Trump. I just feel he checks out. He collapses. He becomes increasingly involved in drugs, delusion, fantasy, hopes and fears, the Ace of Swords, which is victory. The final outcome is Two of Swords. Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. Go forward. This is somebody who is not going to want to dwell on the negative. She's similar to Obama in that sense. And in some ways, she will be more successful than Obama in the sense that she appears to be attracting more Republican support for whatever reason than Obama did. For example, Liz Cheney, Cheney's father endorsing her. She has more cooperation with this Two of Cups. The Queen of Cups, she is able to reason with people about these concerns about global warming, etc. And Trump, financial issues with Trump. She's back making decisions. Yeah, she's going to win. I didn't even see Trump. He presents as her opposition. She was the Queen of Wands in the first house. The Queen of Swords is what she sits in. This King of Wands is interesting. I think that may be Zelensky, and I think it may be the Western push. It's concerning that Europe is not more invested in. We need to see a greater unity with Europe, and there's a concern about lack of unity when it comes to Ukraine, but it seems to suggest that the West is winning. There's a real concern about that. Last thing is I want to just quickly check the Iran war, and I want to just see if Israel and the United States, we already know, are going to do something about it. We already know that the leader of Hezbollah was taken out by Israel, then his successor was taken out, and then the successor of the successor was taken out. Also, I believe the head of the IRGC was assassinated today, and that makes sense because, again, we're talking about a coup inside the Iranian Guard. Inside the IRGC, they are helping Israel with these assassinations. It's the IRGC, people embedded in the IRGC, that are telling the Israelis where the terrorists are, and that is why it's happening so quickly. They are actively working on revolution from within. And the concern is that with the nuclear weapons testing happening in Iran, they could be looking to attack Israel in a very short amount of time, which again goes back to what I had said before, which is we have no choice. We cannot negotiate with Iran. There is no halfway. We must take out Iranian leadership. If we don't take out Iranian leadership, more people will die. The least amount of deaths calculated means that Putin must be dismantled and Khamenei must be dismantled, and his extremist ideology. All right, let's take a look. Now, as many of you know, Iran is getting military aid and has an ally in Russia, but Russia is suffering themselves from a military collapse, so they could be looking at help from China. However, China could just let Iran collapse, because we see an ending or a gap stop here and a karma of a new partnership with the West. Interesting card, the Two of Wands. It has to do with global partnerships, and you can see the direction is with the West. So something is changing, something ends, and a new partnership could be emerging with the West, with Iran. We have the High Priestess, so we have this, it's quite auspicious. It would be this strong energy, the hidden knowledge being revealed. I love the pomegranate, which is one of the symbols of Persia, is the pomegranate. I think it's the official fruit, if I'm not mistaken, of Persia. They seem to put pomegranates in everything. And so it's almost as if Persia is giving birth to its ancient spirit, the ancient spirit of Persia. And the crossing card is within 30 days. We see a rising up. In the next 30 days, we will see major civil war within Iran. What is above Iran now is a time of confusion. People don't know what's going to happen. People are concerned about the future and where they are sitting. Ace of Swords, double aces falls with Iran. There is a war going on and an Ace of Wands. And it is this revolution that ultimately gives the West a new future. As we had talked about, there was a soft coup that happened where they had a more liberal, progressive man take power as the president, and he could become the future leader of Iran. And we're entering into the time of the King of Swords, which is the military taking over, which is what I had predicted, was that we could see the end of Khamenei and the taking over of the military as they take control in this coup and work with Israel to dismantle religious extremists, because the Shia are a minority of just about 35% now in Iran. They have become a minority in Iran. And where they are at right now, Four of Swords, this they are inactive. It's like sleeper cells, but we can see the opposition is the Ten of Swords. This feeling that they have no choice and they must act, and they must act now. Two of Swords, interesting. Let's do a clarification on that. Poverty coming to the area. They are not going to be able to get the help that they want. They're not going to be able to get the military assistance that they want. I see the collapse of Iran, and I think we'll start seeing the end of Iran in less than a month. We could be seeing major dismantling just because this Ace of Wands is here and the Ace of Swords, and we're seeing it entering into a time of the military, and the Tower is coming for Iran. We also have the Knight of Pentacles as a base, which would mean the end and a karma of a new relationship or new importing and exporting with the West, which would be very good for the economy of Iran. But I'm going to go ahead and predict that we're going to see a violent response from Israel and the West, probably in less than a couple of weeks, and we could see all-out dismantling of Iranian leadership or something moving in that direction in the next 30 days. All right, I want to thank you all for watching this tarot card readings and remote view. If you would like to have a reading with me, please check the information below. You just book through Booksy, and then I call you on the phone. Remember that my time is Pacific Daylight Time, so if you're on the East Coast and you make an appointment with me for noon, that would be 3 p.m. in New York. All right. Oh, and I also am a naturopathic doctor and a medical intuitive, so if you need to see me as a medical intuitive and as a naturopathic consultant, please reach out to me also by booking through Booksy. Be kind to all, so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone. Thank you for your support.